am Dr. Romano, French-American and member of the Global Samud Flotilla. I claim that the flotilla, consisting of about 37 boats, was intercepted by Israeli forces in international waters about 6 days ago. We were brutally intercepted, mistreated very much by the Shiite 13 forces, and forced to dock our boat in Ashdod, where we were processed. Clearly illegal, and I'll discuss illegality after that. Then, in prison, we were all imprisoned. Israel violated the Fourth Geneva Convention by its soldiers literally beating up some of the activists that were providing no resistance whatsoever. Some activists were, in fact, injured. And then in prison, the Israeli forces deprived prisoners of important medicine, especially insulin, of an elderly man, about 80 years old, and also apart from beating up and depriving activists of important medication, activists were not allowed to take a shower. Activists were not given a proper trial. In other words, there was a judge that basically held a kangaroo court, and there was no prosecutor. We were not allowed to see our lawyer. So there are many other things that were in violation of international law, and especially when we were taken off the boats by the police in a very violent and aggressive way, thrown to the ground, the hot ground under the sun. Some of us were required to stay 2 hours in a terrible position. Very, very difficult. That is torture and in violation of the Fourth Geneva Convention. But I'd like to say that all the difficulties that the members of the flotilla encountered are nothing compared to the daily arrests and beatings and killings by the Israeli forces of Palestinians. Often homes are invaded, destroyed, and Palestinians are transported by force. Those are all illegal actions under international law. The Palestinians live this every day. In fact, there are over 10,000 Palestinians in prisons, and over 400 children are in prison, and 1 American citizen is in prison in the Israeli prisons. I would, however, like to thank all people for their assistance of the flotilla, helping us, especially building a huge fleet. Their donations, it allowed us to finally set sail to Gaza with, again, very precious water, food, and medication for the Gazan population that often is suffering of dehydration, malnutrition, and lack of medication. So we got to thank you very much for supporting us, and hope you'll continue to do that in future missions. Lastly, we have a message for the world. And the world, please, don't stop contesting what Israel is doing to the Palestinians. It has been defined by a UN agency that what Israel is doing is clearly genocide. And not just that, in Gaza and the West Bank, Israel is destroying buildings, transferring by force Palestinians. These are all international law violations and must stop. These people have a right to their homeland, have a right to their country. To converge Gaza and the West Bank is what should happen, and they could have their own independent country and have a normal life someday. So please, continue the fight. Don't give up. And in any way you can participate. In other words, if you can't leave home, you can write messages on your computer, talking to friends about events. You can donate money, or you can participate or in conferences, or inform people of conferences so they can participate. Just staying at home in front of your computer, you can do a lot. And we appreciate everything you do, because it will all help Palestine finally be free in its homeland. Thank you.